Let's segue into one of the topics that you wanted to talk about.
All right.
Guy gets
All right,
excited.
all right, all right.
Guys get excited.
All right, Matthew McConaughey.
So, I don't know if you guys heard of this South African singer. Her name is Tyla.
I have not.
You guys haven't heard of her?
No.
I may be
She
familiar
does
with
the
her
water
music.
dance.
I'm probably
It's
familiar
kind of pretty
with her
too.
music.
It's kind of pretty.
Okay.
Spell it.
Pull
Tyla, Tyla.
Oh.
It's not the time to Google stuff, bro. You got to be more aware of your surroundings. Stop just following Jamaican stuff.
No, I can't.
Okay.
I'm googling.
Let me see.
Exactly.
So,
Oh, okay.
pretty, eh?
Yeah. She's very beautiful.
So she has a very popular song and a dance. So everybody's is on her right now. She's in the States doing tour or whatever. And I think someone is interviewing her and they're asking, I haven't seen this for myself. I saw a couple clips of it, but I didn't see the interview. So and that's just my my declaration, right? So this girl now, they're asking her about her ethnic background. And she's saying that she's not black, she's colored.
Oh.
You heard that, right?
Yes, that's a uniquely South African thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And people were people in the States are like, what?
That's a uniquely.
Are you trying to
South
disown us? Because you know the history.
They need Trevor Noah to translate what she meant.
Right. But I don't think she did very well. I don't think she did very well. So people were taking out of context and saying that you're disowning being black, right? And it just kind of, two things it brought to my mind. One is how arrogant Americans are, thinking that they own every definition. Well, I understand where people are coming from, because when Tiger Woods said it, somehow I kind of felt like Tiger Woods rubbed me the wrong way because he said it. Mm-hmm. But I understood what he was saying. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm still like, hey, Tiger Woods, hey, bro, listen, man, calm down. You know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to?
Tiger's American, so like it's different when he says it versus when. But
still,
South
people are
Africa.
still up in arms when he said it, though. People
True.
are still mad about it.
True.
Even now, people don't really respect Tiger Woods the way I guess that I'm gonna say he deserves because of what he said.
No,
So what's the difference between being colored and black?
So I'm gonna explain my understanding of it. So when Tyler said it, so I was thinking the arrogance of Americans. That's one thing I was thinking. Second thing I was thinking is, how do we get to that point where we just kind of start seeing our own perceptions of things? You see what I'm saying? We don't give people a chance to really have a perception of, like, if the status quo is perceiving something to be one way, then it's almost like you can't go against it. And this is why I'm called a weirdo a lot of times, because I kind of go against this. Like, people might think of things a certain way. I'm like, no, I don't think and be like, oh my God, you're so weird. And I'm like, when did we get to that point where we think that because something is popular and because it's common, that's the only way to think? You see what I'm saying? And so because of that mentality, whenever we hear something that's different, we start immediately thinking this person must be having a bad motivation behind it. Which is why a lot of people are up in arms, because they hear that she said, oh, I'm not colored. She probably don't mean anything, but which I don't think she does. If she understood the impact that was going to have, she probably wouldn't have said it.
No,
but she don't know, because in South Africa, right, colored people is a particular group of people.
Yeah.
And she wanted to be a part of that group. She don't want to sell herself out, which is why she's saying I'm colored. It's not the same as here where colored people is non-whites. In South Africa, it's more particular than that.
Yeah.
It has a tradition to it.
Yeah.
Right? And I think
it's like an official race.
Right. And I think it's coming from way back with the Khoi people. Right?
Well,
like Sarah Bartman.
It comes from apartheid, the notion of colored people in
Yeah,
South
but
Africa.
I'm talking about even the traditional sense of it.
Oh, okay.
Right? This is a heritage they're tying to.
Okay.
It's what I'm saying. So I think in some senses that's what it is. But for her, but if it's coming from apartheid and that's the only way she's looking at it, then it's similar to what the States is looking at it. But it's more than that. It's a little bit more than that.
So colored people make up 8.2% of the population in South Africa.
Right. But for us, colored means non-white. When people say here in North America, you're a colored person. They're simply saying you're not white, because a colored person could be black, Indian, it could be even Asian. Like I mean, can we still say Orientals?
No.
We can't say Orientals, right?
No.
What do we say?
East Asians.
East Asians,
Yeah.
right? So that's what they mean by colored here. In South Africa, it's more particular than that.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where she's coming from, because she's thinking, if I say I'm black, I'm selling those people out, and I don't want to.
Exactly. Because if she's South African, like she's got a quote unquote answer to South Africans first before anybody else.
Right.
So she can't come to America and say she's black and then go back to South Africa and deal with all the fallout that's going to come from her saying that. So she has to say color, because that's, in a South African context, that is officially what she is. Right. And it goes to the point where during the days of apartheid, colored people actually had more rights than black people. Like it was like a hierarchical system where you had whites at the top, you had blacks at the bottom, and then somewhere in between, but like closer to the level of blacks, but just slightly above blacks, you had colored people. And it was a way for the whites to kind of divide the non-white people, essentially, right?
But I want to know, what is the colored people? People that are
people who are mixed.
People who are mixed. Okay. Yeah. People.
But as I was saying earlier, it's a little bit more than that, because in the States it's the same thing. People who are mixed can be considered are mulatto. Back in the days, they used to call them mulatto, right? Right. But in South Africa, it's a little bit more specific based on my understanding.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, it's people who are mixed, but at the same time, they're coming from a certain heritage, and I think she's so connected to it.
Yeah.
She don't want to let it go. And Americans just took it. They say, "Oh, what are you talking about?" And they just going off on her.
Well, the thing about like Americans is their education system is trash. So a lot of Americans just don't know shit. Just like if it has to do with not American stuff, they just don't know shit. Like if it has to do with like stuff in the world, unless if they've either traveled many places or they originally come from a particular place. Like if people who are just like, 5 generations deep American and like, don't have any near relative that comes from somewhere outside, it's just for them, like there is no world outside of America, really and truly.
That's the arrogance I'm talking about.
Exactly.
You see what I mean? And it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
You know any of her songs?
Huh? No, I don't know any of her songs, but I know the popular song that everyone's talking about is Water.
No, yeah,
and she has a dance to it, but I don't listen to it. It was brought to my attention through because of what she said. Right? I think someone showed it to me. I was like, what? At first, I was like, what? What does she mean? I don't want her. She's disowning me. I'm disowning her.
Was it what she said or how she looked, Joey, to that?
What she said.
Okay.
And then when I looked at her, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. All right.
Well, maybe she wants a kiss in public.
Chris, what was what?
Big guy said, huh? I don't really like her anymore.
She's a pitnet too. She's mad young.
Oh my God. So you find that deep?
What?
What you said about what she said and what people are trying to make of.
It is deep. It's very deep. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say it if it wasn't. So
I think it's fuckery.
Put it up.
I think the criticism about her saying that is fuckery because it's obviously coming from an uneducated place, right? And that's why I joked to say, like, I think Trevor Noah needs to come in and translate that because
Trevor Noah said he's colored too?
Trevor Noah is colored.
Okay.
Yeah, Trevor Noah is colored. And
yo, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, well, the thing is, because Trevor Noah's been
colored black,
because Trevor Noah's been in America so long and understands like the American context and the South African context, like
he doesn't push it.
Yeah, and if he were to, like, if he were asked about that interview, like he would just break it down so quick and easy, and then everybody would just be like, "Oh, okay, I get it," right? But just because she didn't have the opportunity to do that, or
she's new and she's young,
yeah.
But I get why people are up in arms. I do get it. Because the first time I heard the term brown, it was the same reaction for me. I was like, I've never heard... When I was in Jamaica, I've never heard anybody call anybody brown. Black, white,
wait, a brown man when you...
light skin.
Super light, yeah.
But no race as brown race. You know what I'm saying? But when I came here and I heard people like most of the people from India, describing themselves as brown people.
Yeah.
I took it somehow. I'm like, are you trying to separate yourself from being black? You know, like that's how I took it. So I could understand what the Americans are saying. You see what I mean? But I think Chris is right. It's just arrogance and being uneducated. Yeah, but still deep.
What was harder for you to do? You'd agree with LeBron or you'd agree with me?
Apologies,
LeBron.
thinking about it.
No, it's close. But LeBron was harder.
Chris, you know what? I'll agree with you, brother. Even though I love LeBron, I'll agree with you more, bro. All right, so what you have for us, Chris?
Yeah, so something that we wanted to talk about a while ago, and then it kind of went away, and Damion brought it back, was about the beaches in Jamaica and the fact that so many of the beaches in Jamaica are privatized, and you have local people, local Jamaicans, especially a lot of fishermen, or just a lot of people that just work off the beach, that are fighting for access to the beach.
Access, you mean like getting into the beach without paying?
Without paying,
Okay.
exactly, and just having the beaches public. So, for example, you have these big companies that come in and buy land, build up resorts, and then all of a sudden that beach or the access to the beach gets blocked off to the local people who have been fishing there for like their whole lives, and they're like 50, 60, 70 years old, right? So there was an interesting video that came out on Al Jazeera a couple of months ago about a company or an activist group called JAMBEM. Was it Jamaica Beach Birthright Environmental Movement? Is that what it stands for?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I might be confusing Beach Birthright, or it might be Birthright. I think Beach Birthright. But essentially it's this organization who they are suing. JAMBAM. This is an organization who are suing these large corporations and suing the government because apparently in law, like leftover colonial laws, it states that the shorelines of Jamaica belong to the crown, which means belong to King Charles at this point in time, right? And that's just mad fuckery. So we wanted to talk about that and kind of just dive into that and give our opinion about that, because in other islands like Barbados, like all the beaches are public. So even if you have like a fucking 5-star resort on the beach, you can't block access to the local people there. They can't go inside the resort, but they still have the right to go on the beach to access the beach. You know what I mean? But in Jamaica, they don't have that because of these colonial
I've been
laws.
in a resort where I seen people access the beach, but they can't come on the property of the hotel. So like there's a
partition.
Yeah, like there's a border where you know the beach is still there, but you just can't cross over here because here is the hotel, the resort, but they still have access from.
But what that makes people have to do is now they have to take the long way to come around. And in the video, like people are saying they had to go like 10 miles out of the way to like go around some wall and come around.
But what do they want to do? They want to come on the people's own property?
Yeah,
no, they just want to go fish. They want to go fish or.
So this is the thing. So this you said so much. I don't think we have enough time to even cover it. So what I'll do is I'll take a jab at one part of it, and it's just the beaches, right? Because the constitutional part that you brought up with King Charles owning the shores and all that, that's also a different conversation. You see what I mean? And I'd want us to talk about that at some point, but maybe not today. You know what I mean?
Have you, when you go to Jamaica, you've been on the beaches?
I used to work at Jamaica Grand.
So that was years ago, bro. I'm asking you a
But
question.
you ask, yes.
When you go,
I used to work at a hotel that had beaches, and that partition that you're talking about, they had it, and that's what I'm going to talk about right now. I'm going to talk about my personal experience. So there's something that we need to really make clear, because I was watching the video. You just see me watching the video of people talking about privatization taking away the beaches from fishermen, for example, right? And I think it's partly true, but it's not the whole story, right? So to begin with, the number one industry in Jamaica right now, the number one moneymaker, is tourism. Let's get that clear in the first.
Yeah.
Tourism.
Not just Jamaica, but all the Caribbean.
Well, we're talking about Jamaica.
Yeah.
Tourism. And it's been tourism for a while, right? I don't know if I've ever, if we've ever been to the point where fishing was an actual industry for us. I don't think so. I know bauxite was one at a certain point. Agriculture was one, but fishing was never an industry for us as Jamaicans. But tourism is the moneymaker, and whatever we need to do to boost the tourist industry, we need to do it. Right now, we're not selling our souls to bring money in, but we have to do things that are good for tourists. And Jamaica being a violent place, and always in top 5 when it comes to violent, but murder rate and all that. That's one thing that hinders the tourist sector. But then when you have nice places where people can come and relax and have fun and just feel like they're a part of something very utopian, because that's what the hotels give you. It boosts us. It helps us. It kind of offsets the violence. You see what I'm saying? So now if someone's going to an island where they're hearing that this island is in the top 5 murder rate in the world, they're going to be apprehensive. So the more you have people just walking by and doing whatever they want, it's the less people are going to want to go there. You see what I'm saying? So if you can now create a utopian society where you have people in a bubble, then I'm sure that will be a better boost for the tourism industry, right? And I think in many ways that's how the important people, the politicians, that's what they're thinking. If we do this, it'll be better for what we're trying to do, right? Now, we do understand that when you do one thing, it might take over something else. So if we're going to do this, and in some cases we're going to have unhappy fishermen, so be it, because this is our moneymaker. This is what gives us the money. And what do you prefer? Do you prefer appeasing the fishermen, the one or two or three men who are just going to catch 5 fish and bring and sell on Sunday mornings, or are you going to appease a country?
So I was saying, does the tourism dollars get to the local Jamaicans?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so you were gonna answer from your experiences about that.
Yeah. So when people say the tourism dollars don't stretch to the people, I disagree with that vehemently, and this is why. In Ochi, for example, right? Whenever the more tourism you have, meaning there's a ship at the pier, like a cruise ship at the pier. The hotels are packed. The craft market, which has locals, the hustlers on the streets, they have way more money. They have way more access. You see what I mean? Nobody stops them from. If you're harassing the tourists, then the police officers will stop you. But if they're asking you for services, like people will say, "Oh, I want to get a braid, like a one braid with some beads on it or whatever." The people who walk in the town who'll do that, and they'll make money from it, right? People in the craft market, they'll make more money. Just the town on a whole is just buzzing whenever there's more tourism. So I don't understand the claim that people are making that the locals don't make money from tourism, because directly they do. Tourists themselves will give people money.
But even the people that work on the resorts do make money as well.
That's what I'm saying. So when people say that, I don't know what they mean, because directly they do, indirectly they do. Because if the country's doing well economically, then indirectly people are better, right? And then directly they get money from the tourists. So the point where they're saying they don't make money, I don't agree with that. And then the second point, so Jamaica Grand, for example, it's called now. What is Jamaica Grand called now? Moon Palace, right? Moon Palace. The way it's structured is, so Moon Palace is a private property, and then they have a partition goes into the water. Beside Moon Palace, you have, when I was there, it used to be called Inn on the Beach. What is it called now? I don't know what it's called now, but there's a beach right beside Moon Palace.
Out on the beach.
No, I think Reggae Beach, or I can't remember what it's called, but right beside Moon Palace, there's a beach. And when I was coming up, the locals could access that beach. Now, could fishermen go on there to fish? No. There's a beach just around the corner, Fisherman's Beach. That's where the fishermen would go, and they'll have their boats and they'll go out in the ocean. Now, beside Fisherman's, there's Margaritaville. So it's all being privatized.
Very expensive.
It's all being privatized, and the spaces where the locals can just walk and go in is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So in that sense, I get it, but it's not done in a way where people are not considering the locals. It's done in a way where we're thinking, what do we prefer? Tourism or having fishermen just have free reign on all the beaches? And I think the government chose tourism. And I understand why, because that's the main moneymaker for Jamaica. It makes perfect sense.
So I think then, like, the question is, does JamBem, so JamBem has 3 cases currently ongoing right now that they're suing either the companies or the government. Do you think they have a case?
I don't know what the lawsuit is, so I wouldn't be able to intelligently speak on it. But what I can tell you is that depending on what they're suing for, if it's a case where...
Actually, can I interrupt? So to answer your question, because it is directly related to fishing. As I mentioned, the old laws that state that all the shorelines of Jamaica belong to the Crown.
Right.
There's another law that says, and this is actually what the JamBem is building the case on. There's another law that says if you can demonstrate that you've used these beaches or waters to either bathe, fish, or something else, I think just enjoy or whatever, for at least 20 years, like undisturbed, that's then apparently there's a law that allows an exception for them. And I think that's what they're fighting for.
Oh. So they're fighting to bathe, fish, or...
I don't know what the other criteria is. Like, I don't know if it's just like leisurely enjoy.
It'd be super strange for me to buy a property to build a hotel or a villa, and knowing how Jamaica goes, to have people just freely just be...
Not even knowing anywhere at all. You buy that place just for
you know
what I mean? To run a business, so you want to make sure it's secure.
I don't know how...
You want it to open to the public like that.
Yeah, I don't know how open that can be. I don't know how much I would agree with. So it's the case where one thing I can say, this is one thing I can say. What Jamaica should do is have a space where they say, you know what, this is not for sale. 1 or 2 spaces where this is not for sale. The locals have to enjoy this, and people have to go fishing, and we're going to have this space that they can do that. Right? But to say beaches in general should be open to the public, I don't agree with that at all. That doesn't even make sense.
But
that's how other islands are, though. So like Barbados is like that, for example. Sorry, cut you. Go ahead.
No, but I said based upon my experience, some of the time when you have fishing or go on, sometimes not really have beach settings where you can go.
Right.
You know what I said?
And they don't take care of it.
You know what I said? It's more like you see pay a fisherman out there and then just go out do them thing and come back. And then down probably like the next 200-300 meters further down, people are swimming and do them thing. You know what I mean? So,
this is what I'm saying. So if you have a designated area, and Jamaica needs to be smarter when it comes to these kind of things.
But I think only on the North Coast have that problem though. Cause in Portmore I have that down by
you guys don't have no real beach, anyways.
So real beach.
so much spite in his voice.
No, what are you talking about? We have
you go in the water. You go in the water, and something's hitting you on the leg. You're like, what is that?
Cross the waters, bro.
And it's some lady's pad that she used. Like,
stop this, right there,
bro. Stop this, bro.
No, but
that's a canal.
No, it's not. Bright and fierce.
But even Hellshire, that's not a real. I would never be caught dead in a Hellshire.
That's the only thing I agree with you. Elsha, as like years ago, when you were working at your hotel, Elsha was proper.
It's not proper now.
No, it's not.
And it's eating away at the shoreline.
It's not.
Every time I go to Hellshire, the water is closer and closer to the road.
Right. And the other beaches that are popping or popular right now, that wasn't even a thing back in the day. So you have Sugarman Beach on the road and all these other things, but Elsha is just known for food. You just go there and get the fish at the festival.
But Jamaica needs to get better at this. They need to get better at arranging for specific spaces, specialized spaces, let's say. So beaches, fishermen, and people who want to just go frolic bathe or whatever, you could go to this beach, right? Entertainment, say you want to keep a dance or whatever, pasa. Instead of being on the road, you could go to this event center. Jamaica they need to get better at that, right?
Yeah,
We're
I
not
would
very
agree.
organized when it comes to that kind of stuff. And if we do that, then we'll probably have a better system. But for now, we don't. And I don't know if I agree in general that people should get access to all the beaches, but people should have some access to some beach. There's no way we can be in Jamaica and locals can't go to some beaches. There's no way, right? But I do understand where the government's coming from. Tourism is our number one sector. We should take care of it.
Deep.
The deep topic, because there's
Big
so
guys
many
in
more
the
layers to
Yeah,
it.
that's what I'm saying. There's so much more to talk about in that topic that I don't even think we can touch on, because I do want to touch on the Constitution and what belongs to the crown and what doesn't belong to the crown, and what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And I do think we're gonna come back to that at some point.
we gotta come back to that. Yeah.
So is it fuck or deep?
Deep, super deep.
You going to the beaches?
Yeah. Okay. I don't swim though.
You can swim. Or
I
you don't?
can, of course I can, but I don't. When I go back home, I never go to the beach to swim. People go to the beach and I'm just chilling. I'm not going in the water.
Why? It's so healing.
I don't like it.
You know what's funny? It's like I'm the opposite. I can't swim, but I go to swim.
Nah, I can swim. I grew up in
Something
the
is
water.
wrong with this guy. I keep telling you.
There's a lot of things wrong with me. A lot of things wrong with
keep
me.
it in your head. You pay for going, you keep the gate, you sell liquor, you string up the sword, you play the music. No, you're tough. All right.
Pause. Tough. Good. I'm just saying though.
You know what I tell you, some of your blows as girl. Remember, you gotta take the walk with your girl and she gonna need her chops. All
Tyla,
right.
Water dance.
All right, with that being said, what that? Girl, and you have a mic. I'm gonna turn big guy right now. You have a mic. Speak. What is that? Big guy?
Say it in the mic.
What did she say? What I hear? What did she say?
See, the 3-year-old who got murdered.
Oh my
no,
God.
we're not talking about that.
All right.
If the only way we talk about it is if you talk about it. If not, close it off.
Yeah.
Yo, you cannot do girl ad like that.
Yes.
Girl ad.
So go ahead.
Okay, fine.
So first introduce yourself, because you're a new asset to the show. All
So
of a sudden.
she's on a
my
new
name is
asset.
Girl
You're a new
Hand.
asset on the mic. You're a new asset on the mic. So introduce yourself, who you are, what you've been doing for the show, and you're off camera.
I'm girl hand.
Exactly.
Okay. Fine.
And what have you been doing?
What up pressure girl answer?
Because the people want to know.
What do you do?
She's a producer / director.
Yes, I can control the camera and the sound.
Yes.
Yeah, don't be shy now.
So no, I wanted to get your opinions on the 3-year-old who was killed, and the news article just came out because they weren't saying it before. They were calling it an organization. Now they're saying that the 3-year-old got killed in the CAS office.
Okay, so give us some backstory.
So what happened? I don't
So
know.
last week there was an article that came out that said a 3-year-old was with a woman. They went into an organization. She took him into the bathroom, came out of the bathroom, went home, and then the next day called the police and said he was dead. And she said he died in his sleep.
And this woman was a worker, a caseworker, or was it the parent or something?
Well, when the article came out, they didn't really identify who she was and how she was related to him, but she doesn't work at the CAS office.
So she's a caregiver.
She's probably a caregiver at the time.
Allegedly,
yes.
But the 3-year-old person was with the alleged caregiver. They went into the washroom
At the CAS office.
at the CAS office. They came out, and then she went home.
You know
Well,
what?
he went home with the caregiver.
You know what? I got the story.
So,
With the but.
so she said, sorry, the article is now saying that he died. Whatever happened, it happened at the CAS office in the bathroom.
So at first it said an organization. It wasn't specific, and then now it's specific.
Well, now a source came out and is calling out
The
the
CAS.
CAS,
And CS is stands for what?
the Children's Aid Society.
Children's Aid
So now
Society.
I'm also bringing that up, and I don't know if you guys know that today there's another article out where two boys, I think a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old, or a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, they were found dead in their apartment today, and The mom
Since
is in the
Scarborough.
yes,
The
and the
mom
mom's in the
jumped.
hospital
The mom jumped, right?
in critical condition. Yes.
And
I was reading that.
is,
Why did she
is
jump?
that the one where they said that the father recently died as well
December
too?
1st,
So
yes.
like there might have been maybe
Wow.
depression or something,
So, yeah.
grieving.
Mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah. So real quick. You want me to go first or you
Yeah,
go?
I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, real quick, I think we don't take mental health as seriously as we should, and I think we don't have enough resources to deal with. Because these are very tough situations. It's I don't even know where to begin when you talk about having to deal with that. Okay, so let's put a scenario out there, right? We don't know. We're just going off the details that you told us, which is not much. So let's say the person in the first case with the CAS, let's say that person is a caregiver, right? We don't know if it's the mom, if it's the aunt. We don't know what she is. She went into the washroom, and then the little boy ended up dead the following day after they went home. Now, I'm thinking there's some kind of tie to them going to the washroom why they're mentioning that. Because if he died in bed at home, then why mention that they went to the washroom? So I'm thinking there's some ties there, right? Now,
Sorry to cut you off, but it does say that he was assaulted in the bathroom.
so it was assaulted. Okay, so there you go. So I'm thinking for you to assault a 2-year-old little boy, there's some mental health. Something's going on here, and those kind of things are not things that just happens. Right? It comes with history and tradition. You see what I mean? And the reason why the person is writing an article calling out the CAS is because there's some responsibility to be how do you say that, bore in that case, where CAS probably neglected something. There's some signs. I'm just saying probably. I'm not saying there is. CAS, don't come after me. I'm just saying probably.
We don't know context.
We don't know context,
And
but
usually
we
news,
ignore a lot of things.
But usually these news articles, there's half truths because they don't have enough information.
Right, but CAS workers are sometimes also half steppers.
No comment.
Oh my God.
Right. So we will see things, and we'll ignore it because we don't want to get into all that, and 2, we'll ignore it because we don't know what to do. You see what I mean? Mental health. I'm talking about mental health. You don't know what to do about someone, experiencing a mental health situation. So the easier thing for you to do is just to ignore it and just keep it moving and hope nothing happens, right? I can guarantee you these situations happen all the time. It's just that we don't have major situations like deaths or someone getting hurt. But it happens all the time and people just ignore it because we don't know what to do. I've been in so many situations with police officers with a person with mental health and they don't know what to do. They have no idea what to do with the person. And you know what they do? They leave. And the person is just there and nothing is solved. Right? And then someone stabs someone or someone jumps off somewhere or something happens and then it's going to be in the news. But they knew about it beforehand. It's the same thing in the States when you have all these mass murders, people shooting 18, 20 people. There's always reports about people knowing about the person's mental health before, but we don't do anything about it because we're a reactive society. We're not proactive. We don't know what to do when it comes to mental health. The lady with the little boys who jumped off the balcony or wherever she jumped off, and she killed all the boys first, apparently. That's like, again, those things don't just creep up on you, right? And because we're so reactive, we're going to continue to have these situations because we don't know what to do with it. We need more resources for mental health situations. The government needs to pay attention to it.
I agree.
I wonder, because when the situation happened at High Park, was it last year when
with the black girl?
With the black girl,
and she got pushed off.
And
apparently?
she fell off the balcony. Whether we don't know whether she fell off, jumped off, or pushed off, or however. But a woman fell to her death in High Park area in Toronto, unfortunately. And there was a lot of conversation about mental health because it was a mental health. What do you call like a wellness call? Did it start with like
wellness
a wellness call? It started with a wellness check and it escalated, and then someone ended up this woman ended up falling off the balcony or being pushed off and to her death. And at the time, you know, all the defund the police conversation was coming in, but more importantly than that, it was talking about like funding like mental health officers to work with police officers. So if there is a mental health call, that police have to go in with some sort of mental health professional. Now I'm wondering if this is a kind of situation where maybe that can be applicable.
Yes. So since then, what they've done, the city has tried to do some stuff to alleviate that problem. They've added more mental health courses to the courses that the officers take before they graduate. And even when they graduate, they still have to do trainings. And some trainings they do has to do with mental health. They have the MCIT team, the crisis intervention team. But the problem with that is they don't have enough. And that's my call. My call to action is we need more. So while they've done some stuff, they've also done the community police officer unit where the police officers are acting like social workers, let's say, right? And they go to situations, instead of approaching it as an enforcer, they're approaching it as a trauma-informed person, right? So they'll go in to de-escalate rather than to enforce the law. Do you know what I'm saying? So they have those, and those are good initiatives. But for MCIT, for example, in my shelter, around that area, around that catchment area, there's only one MCIT team, right? And so if you have 50 mental health calls around Rexdale, they're not going to get to you till like 10 hours later. You see what I mean? And the government needs to pay attention to that, because if you had more teams, you could have more de-escalations, you could have more crisis prevention, and that will help all these situations that we're talking about. Because sometimes the families don't even know what to do. You see what I mean? You have your loved one, and that person is experiencing mental health, and they're doing the most, and you can't do anything. What are you going to do? So people just ignore it. Because what can I do? I don't know how to deal with this. You see what I'm saying?
But what if they don't reach the criteria to be formed?
What?
What if
MCIT don't have to form you? Forming a person is the last resort. You're not coming in to form people.
So what if MCIT comes out and they try to de-escalate the situation? It de-escalates. They know the person needs extra support, but they refuse to go.
Who refuses to go?
The person? Individual.
Right. So what does knowing that they need extra support mean?
What do you mean?
You said that they know that they
so
need
they've
extra
assessed
support.
the situation, and based on their assessment, they say, okay, it would be best for
if
you
they go to the hospital.
To go to the hospital.
Right. But what does that mean? This is what I'm saying. So it depends on what that means, because if it means knowing you need support means that you're either a danger to yourself, a danger to someone else, or there's some hygiene issues, or there's something going on. What I've seen people do is they've conjured up all these different situations, and they've said, you know what? This is enough to form the person. Even if it's very minuscule, they just do it, and they bring the person to the hospital, because you know that it's under the Mental Health Act.
Right, and I've seen far too many times they get formed in the hospital. They go in for 24 hours, and then they get the choice to be released. And then they say, and then the families ended up in the exact same situation.
Yes.
So it's a cycle.
Happens. But it goes back to what I was saying, the resources. So if that's the only option we have, then it's not going to work.
But what about if they're refusing the resources? Because a lot of time people experiencing mental health, they don't want the support. Because
the support has a bad stigma. Because if I know that when I go to the hospital, they're going to stick me with a big needle, and then they're going to strap me to a bed, and after I calm down, they're going to let me out, and then within 5 or 6 days, I'm back in square one. Why would I want to go to the hospital? I know if I go to CAMH, all they're going to do is lock me in some room and tell me not to use whatever I'm using and wag fingers at me. Why would I want to go to CAMH? So this is what I'm saying. You have to have a situation where you have people who are actually involved in the mental health field informing you what is the best situation for each scenario, as opposed to just, say, okay, do this. And that's what we're going to do. And we're gone. But Israel and Palestine are fighting. Oh, we can give Israel $80 million. And you're completely ignoring what's going on here. And that's what's happening. If you have the resources properly informed, which is going to cost money, then you'll have a better outcome. This is what I'm saying.
Linky, your thoughts?
Well, I'm not too informed on this. I have to get my intelligence up on this. I have a friend that she sent me a couple pictures of the actual female with the that did the incident with the little boy or little girl.
A little boy. It's
Little
all over
boy.
social media too.
Yeah, she sent me when it actually just happened. She said CP24 was hiding the person's face and name, and she sent it to me. But it's in my inbox, so I'll have to check it after. But I'm not really educated on that, so when I get some more info, I'll talk directly towards that.
I don't know if they were hiding her face and name, because when I read the article last week, her name was on there, but her
No,
photo wasn't on there.
Yeah, that's at the time. Again, this was probably just last week. I have to go check back, but it just happened. And I saw it flashing on CP24.
Okay,
You
so
know what I
probably the
mean?
day it happened.
Yeah, and then she put up her picture and where she lived and blah blah blah. Linky, I was like, okay,
It's tough. It's tough.
it's rough.
It's tough. I'm telling you. You know, it's to hurt a 3-year-old and just like it's tough. It's tough. It's
It's not easy.
It's unfortunate.
Very, very, very unfortunate.
But what are you saying? So are you saying? I'm not sure where your angle is. So CIS is not supposed to be blamed. They're not supposed to
No,
take
I'm not saying that.
responsibility?
I don't know the context, but I think
Or you don't
because-
want to say the context.
Yo, stop pressure girl
I'm
on
just-
her, bro.
I'm just
Like, stop.
saying.
Like,
not my
she
place
brought
to
up
say-
the
it's
topic
not my
for
place
us.
to say the
Exactly.
context.
She brought
But
up the
I think-
topic for us to
I
discuss.
think what it
so
is,
leave
I
her
think
alone.
CIS being thrown out there, I think a lot of people are going to automatically want to blame CIS.
Right.
Again, I don't know the context behind of what happened, but
Yeah. Right, yes, sir.
I think that there just needs to be more measures put into place to make sure that these things don't happen.
So
if
you're
it did
agreeing with
happen,
me.
pardon?
You're agreeing with me
In what sense?
that we need more resources for
We
mental
need
health.
more resources, yes.
So you're agreeing with me.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
We always
okay.
need more resources.
Okay, cool.
But that's
what you needed to
that's
say
the
to
only
feel
thing I'm
fulfilled?
agreeing with right now.
I love how there's all these dynamics of difficult agreeing that's happening
but
on
Chris-
today's episode.
But Chris, the fact that she said, "Yeah, agreed," you should have seen his face. Like,
What was his face?
He felt so fulfilled. I could
I
see
know.
so happy.
How do you know how I feel?
Because you expressed it just now. You smile broad like a potty
I'm an
mouth.
actor.
You're an actor? But whoa.
You're bad at your job.
Very. All right. With that Girl, I got
Share,
a bar.
like, subscribe.
Oh my God. With that being said, thank you guys so much. And I mean, make sure you share
Like, subscribe, comment at the bottom.
in the comment section. All right. Until next week. Next time.
Next week we're gonna have Jeff the Master.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad?
Not yet.
Yeah, like what are you talking about?
You never know. This might come.
Okay,
up at Christmas.
goodbye.